Mark Ruffalo has always seemed more interested in truth than in spectacle. As an actor, he's never chased celebrity for its own sake, nor molded himself into the kind of performer who swallows the screen whole. His gift lies in subtlety, in watching and listening as much as doing.
Right. Become the very thing I hate, a grasping succubus of a lover.
And it's no coincidence that the actors he most admires, the ones he has publicly credited over the years, all reflect that same commitment to authenticity. From childhood heroes to close collaborators, his favourites aren't defined by ego or style, but by a kind of quiet excellence that leaves its mark without needing to shout. Mark Ruffalo's relationship with the Hulk predates any Marvel studio casting call or billion-dollar franchise. It started in front of the television as a boy in the 1970s, watching actor Bill Bixby play the gentle and tormented Dr. David Banner in the original Incredible Hulk series. For many, it was just another superhero show. For Ruffalo, it was formative. He was brilliant, Ruffalo said years later. There was something so soulful about him. I was mesmerized by the way he played pain without self-pity. Bixby's Banner wasn't a power fantasy. He was a man trying to keep himself together, grappling with rage and regret. I think a lot of us who were kids then saw ourselves in him, especially if you grew up in a house where emotions weren't always safe. What Bixby taught Ruffalo, without ever knowing it, was that vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was the very thing that made a character compelling.
What kind of pop do you want? I have to pay for this extra one.
That influence stayed buried for decades, but it never went away. So when Ruffalo was offered the chance to take on the same character in the 21st century reboot of the Marvel Universe, he went back to the source. I watched hours of the old show again, he recalled. I didn't want to imitate him, but I wanted to understand what it was that made people connect with Banner in the first place, and so much of that was Bill Bixby.
I've seen them all. I wouldn't want to put Bill Bixby out of my mind. They all have done really cool, interesting things with him, and hopefully I'll have something to add to the mix.
Unlike most modern interpretations of superheroes, which lean into the larger-than-life, Ruffalo's take on Bruce Banner was deliberately restrained. He's the guy in the corner of the room looking for the exit, not the guy kicking down the door, Ruffalo once explained. That sense of fragility under pressure, the internal war being fought just beneath the skin, that came directly from Bixby's performance. He gave Banner a soul, Ruffalo said. He made the struggle real. I wanted to honor that. Even as the Marvel franchise evolved into a cultural juggernaut, Ruffalo kept returning to that early blueprint. Whether it was scenes with Tony Stark or interdimensional chaos, his Bruce Banner always carried a quiet tension that had nothing to do with CGI and everything to do with Bixby's influence. The effect was clear. Audiences responded not just to the spectacle of the Hulk, but to the haunted, gentle man trying to contain him.
Wow, this is amazing, man! It's like being the Hulk, not actually.
That duality, inner struggle, outward restraint, had been modelled decades earlier by a man Ruffalo never got to meet, but whose presence shaped the role more than any studio note or action sequence. When Mark Ruffalo was announced as the new Bruce Banner in The Avengers, many fans were caught off guard. Edward Norton had played the character in The Incredible Hulk just 4 years earlier. Known for his intense, cerebral approach, Norton had given the character a kind of academic precision. He was a man of science in exile, wary and sharp-edged. Rather than sidestep the shadow Norton cast, Ruffalo addressed it directly. "I'm a friend of Ed's," he told journalists. "He bequeathed this part to me. I look at it as my generation's Hamlet."
And you're going to be playing Bruce Banner. I was just wondering, because we've seen so many sort of portrayals of Bruce Banner, how yours is going to be different.
It's my generation's Hamlet. We're all going to get a shot at it.
That phrase wasn't flippant. It was his way of acknowledging the complexity and depth the role demanded, and the respect he had for the actor who preceded him. "Edward did a great job," Ruffalo said in another interview. He brought a certain intensity and focus that gave Banner a lot of weight. I wasn't going to try to copy that. I had to find my own way. What made Ruffalo's comments remarkable wasn't just the diplomacy, it was the lack of ego. In an industry where replacing another actor often turns into a drama of its own, Ruffalo chose a different path. I didn't feel like I was taking something from him, he explained. I felt like I was building on what he'd done. He also never dismissed the difficulty of the situation. It's weird stepping into someone else's shoes, he admitted, especially when they fit so well. What Ruffalo took from Norton wasn't a style or a performance to emulate, it was an example of commitment.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Norton, for all the backstage tension that reportedly accompanied his Marvel tenure, had taken the character seriously, and that seriousness mattered to Ruffalo. I saw how much he cared, Ruffalo said. That made me want to care just as much. In some ways, Norton's interpretation freed Ruffalo to pursue his own. Knowing that the grounded, cerebral version had already been done, Ruffalo could focus more on the inner emotional life of Banner, the shame, the exhaustion, the desire for peace. He later remarked, "You can't play Banner without understanding what came before. It's like jazz, you take the theme, and then you riff on it, but the melody's still there." Ruffalo's relationship to Norton's work was one of respect, not rivalry.
It feels like if you had to pass the torch to anybody, that's
Mark's the best.
The best choice you could have possibly, the best guy to.
I mean, Mark's like a true brother in arms to me. So, not that I care that much, but Mark's got 4 kids who are awesome. So it's like, what could be better?
And in an industry too often built on one-upmanship, that grace set the tone for his entire Marvel tenure. It says something about Mark Ruffalo that among all the actors he's praised, one of the most glowing tributes he's given was to someone a generation younger than him. Emma Stone, best known for her ability to move seamlessly between comedy, drama, and musical, has earned Ruffalo's admiration for reasons that go beyond accolades.
Before people started to forget who was inside that bird costume, you were doing a play based on a book that was written 60 years ago for 1,000 rich old white people.
She's a once-in-a-generation talent, he wrote publicly, after an interview in which Stone expressed frustration at being known by a stage name. Her real name is Emily, and she said she wished people would call her that. Ruffalo responded simply, "You're Emily to me." It was a small gesture, but it captured something deeper. Respect, not just for Stone's work, but for her as a person navigating the strange world of celebrity. He's spoken before about her craft, calling her performances deceptively simple and full of detail. She has this way of making everything feel spontaneous, he once said, like you're watching her think in real time. That's rare. In particular, Ruffalo has praised her ability to balance lightness with gravity. She can make you laugh and break your heart in the same scene, he observed. That's a gift. It's clear that what draws Ruffalo to Stone isn't just her popularity or her box office appeal, it's the fact that she makes her work seem unforced. She doesn't show off, he said, she just shows up. That approach mirrors Ruffalo's own instincts as a performer. Neither of them are known for chewing the scenery. Instead, they build characters from the inside out, layer by layer, moment by moment. And for Ruffalo, that kind of commitment is everything. There's also a mutual ethos between them.
What is the best Shrek film?
The first one. Jinx. Oh, you owe me a Coke. Double Jinx. Triple Jinx. You owe me 3 Cokes.
Both have spoken about the importance of staying grounded, of protecting a private life in an industry built on exposure. In Stone, Ruffalo sees not just talent, but integrity. Emily has this rare thing, he said. She listens more than she talks. That's true in life and in her work, and it shows. When a younger actor earns such praise from someone like Ruffalo, who tends to avoid grand pronouncements, it's more than a compliment. It's a quiet endorsement of values shared, of choices made carefully and authentically. Of all Mark Ruffalo's collaborators, none has formed a deeper bond with him than Robert Downey Jr.
The Avengers broke up. We're toast.
Broke up? Like a band? Like the Beatles?
Cap and I fell out hard.
Their work together as Bruce Banner and Tony Stark spanned several films, but their friendship off-screen proved to be even more enduring.
So Mark, how do you like your first run as a superhero? Did Robert here give you any advice?
He gave me the part, and then he gave me a lot of advice.
Did I?
You did.
What did I say?
You said, Mark, be good.
Right. That's 2 words.
And I
you
said,
call that advice?
And I said, but we don't want to ruin continuity.
In interviews, the affection between them is obvious. Downey once joked during a Variety conversation that Ruffalo was bangable, prompting Ruffalo to laugh and lean into the warmth of the moment. But behind the banter, there's genuine admiration. Robert has this energy, Ruffalo said. He makes everyone better just by being in the room. He's not just acting, he's connecting. That ability to connect, to elevate a scene partner rather than dominate them, is something Ruffalo clearly values. He's the most generous actor I've ever worked with, he once remarked. He makes space for you. Working with Downey taught Ruffalo lessons that extended beyond acting technique. It offered a model for navigating enormous success without losing sight of collaboration. Robert showed me that you can be the center of the storm and still keep your feet on the ground, Ruffalo said. He listens, he adapts, he's never just performing in a vacuum. What makes their dynamic so effective is the contrast in their styles. Downey is quick, kinetic, full of improvisation. Ruffalo is measured, reactive, always searching for emotional truth. But instead of clashing, those differences created chemistry. Robert's got this bravado, Ruffalo explained, but there's vulnerability underneath. That's what makes him brilliant, and he never fakes it. It's always coming from a real place. Downey, for his part, has returned the praise. In interviews, he has called Ruffalo a moral compass and the heart of the group. It's clear their respect is mutual and rooted in more than just shared screen time. What they found in each other was a kind of creative trust, a belief that you could take risks, push a scene, or drop the script, and the other person would be right there with you. It's rare to feel that safe with another actor, Ruffalo said, but with Robert, I always did. Their relationship stands as an example of what Ruffalo values most in his peers: generosity, integrity, and the ability to bring your full self to the work without needing to steal the spotlight.